Alright, it's paint the frame day. So I completely went through and removed all the rust I possibly could off of this frame for the last couple of days. And plan on getting some paint on it. Kind of remove some of the rust off the fenders. Come to find out they got a couple holes blowed in them. But that can be fixed. The rest of the fender's in good shape. So I'm gonna try and shoot some paint on this thing so I can get it all back together. Get the engine in it. So I got this Rust-Oleum hammer paint. It's black. It says stops rust. It says no primer needed. So hopefully it'll stick good because I didn't put any primer on there. I cleaned it off with some brake cleaner and some paint thinner. Got all the grease off of it. So hopefully this says no primer needed. So we'll try it and see what happens. Hopefully it sticks. The radiator support, I don't know if I already showed it, but it's painted and ready to go. So I'm gonna get this frame painted and hopefully it turns out good. So the front end's all together. If you've been watching the last video, you will notice that I had to go through some difficult times with the upper control arm bushings. After getting the wrong ones, then getting the right ones, and getting them put in, I was finally able to get them painted. Got the front end all together, nicely painted. So now it's time to start working on the engines, whichever one I'm gonna use. But turned out quite good. Still got to paint up top up here though. I'm gonna clean all that off, get all the wiring sorted out, and then I'm gonna paint that. But other than that, the frame turned out real good. Got like a, I don't know what you call that, graphite look. That Rust-Oleum paint. Still got some little touch-ups to do, but got the whole frame all the way to the back. And I started on the transmission tunnel. So let's check out these engines and see what we got for an engine. Alright, here we are. This is the Pontiac 400 motor that I have had and plan on putting it in the Trans Am. Did some research on it. It is a 72 Pontiac motor. It didn't specify it was a Firebird or not, but the guy I got it from said it came out of a 72 Firebird, and they were doing a LS swap. By looking at the numbers on the block, you can see it's got the YT engine code, so that will make it a Pontiac 400 67 to 81, I believe, 250 horse. And also it's got the casting number right here on the back of the block. And there's also the VIN number, which you can't see it. It's right here on the block. So if you got a Pontiac motor, there's a VIN number there. One of those numbers tell you the year and what plant it was made in. And then right here on the block, it's got your horsepower, displacement, and it's got the 46 heads. So if it said 46X, I believe that would be the high compression heads. But I'm probably going to spiff it up a little bit. I really want to get it painted and shove it off in there and just hear it run. He said it ran. The car had a bad transmission, and they were doing an LS swap anyway, so he put the motor on Marketplace. He had the transmission, but they had for some reason they took the tail end off of it. I don't know if they're using it on something else, or they were going to see what was up with it. I don't know. I didn't want the transmission though. But it's all complete. It's got the alternator, power steering pump, the fan with all the belts, which they're going to probably have to be replaced anyway. It's got the 4-barrel carburetor. I really need to see what the date code is of this carburetor. That would tell us something too. But I'm pretty sure it's a 72 model motor. I had to get a flywheel for it. It had a brand new starter on it. I don't know what they did with the flywheel, but I had to get a new one for it and some flywheel bolts. It's got a Wix filter on there. I put the chrome valve covers on there. So anyway, I'm gonna give it the old Vice Grip Garage Craigslist rebuild. Meaning I'm gonna shoot it with some Pontiac paint, just the old duplicate color, Pontiac blue, and I'm gonna get it in there. We'll fire it up, see how it runs. Then I know what I got. The thing's knocking or smoking or whatever. I mean, it's not locked up. I turned it over when I bought it, and he guaranteed that it ran, but he didn't say how good it ran, but he said it ran. So supposedly they were doing an LS swap. So you know, when people start doing LS swaps, the original motor, they don't care about. They'll rip it out of there and sell it just so they can do their LS swap or whatever. But we'll stick it in there and see how it runs. And I mean, I was gonna tear it down, tear the oil pan off of it and check the rods and la 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 la, but I figured we can at least put it in there. How do you like that painted frame? We'll at least put it in there and fire it up, because I'll just bypass the transmission lines and crank it up, see how it runs, and then we'll go from there. I mean, if it smokes or whatever real bad, then we know the rings are bad, or it can be valve seals. Now, I've had this engine probably for about a year, and I think they have recently just pulled it out. I think, I didn't ask him how long it had been out, but he had it covered up in the driveway under a tarp. So let's see where they just cut the exhaust. Or at least they left some flange piping on both sides. I don't know if it had the crossover pipe or not. That's froze. I have to make sure that's on. It's got a brand new fuel pump on it. So I believe it. They ran it. Like I said, I just don't know how good it runs, but we'll find out. I don't know if it's got any oil. I don't know if they drained the oil out of it. don't have any oil in it. I don't know if I drained it or they drained it. It's showing some on the dipstick, so that's kind of bad. Had these valve covers off. Looks fairly decent. Got a little water in it because I pressure washed it and kind of set up. Anyway, we'll bump it over also and make sure that it still that it still turns over, and then we'll go from there. So I'm gonna strip some of this stuff off of it because somebody did a Craigslist rebuild and they got all the brackets blue. This engine's probably been painted about 3-4 times. So I'm gonna take some of the stuff off of it, and that's the original paint there. That blue should be almost the same. That Pontiac blue. So we get all these hoses off. They're no good. The belt's about shredded. And take plenty of pictures before we start taking it apart, so we can put it back together. So I went ahead and pulled all the plugs. I put some PV blaster or WD-40 down the spark plug hose. So I'm gonna try and bump it over, and let's just see how much compression it's got. And I pulled the plugs out, and some of them were kind of foul looking. Some of them look good. They're mismatched plugs. They're ACs, but you can see some of them kind of fouled out, so maybe it was a carburetor problem. But the starter is brand new and it just clicks. So I'm going to have to change. Starters. If I tap on it, I don't know if it's set up and got water in it, because I did pressure wash it with the starter on it. So maybe water got in it and it kind of froze up. I got the jumper box and a battery on it, but it seems like the starter is sticking. So I guess I'll go get the starter off of the 301 that came in the car and put it on there, and hopefully it'll spin it over. That's strange, but like I say, it could have got water in that starter. If I tap on it, it'll try and kick over. I mean, it's probably one of the AutoZone remands or something, but let me go round up another starter and we'll try that. So I went and got the other starter, the one that goes on the 301 engine, and they are definitely different. It's a different size nose cone. As you can see, this one here is smaller than that one. This starter works great. I hooked it up to a battery, but it won't work on this 400 motor. But if I hook this starter up, it don't do anything now. I can feel the internals moving, so I don't know if water then got in there and froze up the Bendix. Like I said, I did pressure wash this thing about had to be 6-7 months ago, but I don't know, maybe they burnt the starter up trying to crank it. It's a reman starter. It's a R713243A. I believe that's one of those O'Reilly starters. I don't think that's a Duralast starter, but it's not doing anything. I tried tapping on it. At first it was clicking, but now it won't do nothing. So I'm just going to have to get another starter. So I'm going to go ahead and move on, spraying some paint on it and kind of cleaning it up a little bit. and then I'll get a new starter. We put it on, then we'll do a compression test and see what this engine is all about without it actually running in the car. So I'm gonna move on, well, like I said, with it just like it is, get it painted up a little bit, and then we'll see what the compression looks like. Alright, so this is the 400 Pontiac starter that wouldn't turn over. It clicks. It did try to turn. It's making a grinding sound inside. So either the Bendix is in the the Bendix inside of the starter is got some rust on it, or maybe they burnt the starter up trying to crank that engine. I don't know. But I got this 350 starter, Chevrolet 350 305, same thing. You can see the difference in the nose cones. This one takes the bolts are staggered. That's your Chevrolet. This is the Pontiac, which is just a straightforward bolt up. The problem with this is two different nose cones, but the solenoids and the bodies is basically the same. So what I'm going to try and do, I know this is a good starter. I'm going to take nose cone off this starter, stick it on this starter, and that should work on the 400 engine. Actually, when I get this starter apart, I might really find out what's wrong with it. It could be rust in it, who knows. But basically they the same setup, basically. Just the nose cone's different. The Bendix and all the winding inside of the starter, all of that should be the same solenoid. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this one apart first. This is the original one. I'll go ahead and get it apart first, and we'll take a look at it. Maybe we can see what happened to it. It's just these bolts right here on the back, these nuts here, and I should be able to just pull this off, and also take this nut loose here, or bolt loose, and that holds the solenoid. I don't think we have to take the solenoid off. It's been a long time since I've been in one of these starters, but I don't think we have to take that solenoid completely off the nose cone. I don't think. It's been a while since I actually messed with one of these. I used to do it a lot back when I was really into Chevrolets, GM products. But now I got into Ford, and those starters are real easy to take apart. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. We'll take this back off. Oh yeah, just as I figured, they got water in it. Look at that. Got moisture in it. I don't know if you can see that there, but it's all on this cover. Some ashy stuff in there. So that could be the reason why. It's real hard to turn. The brushes look good though. Trying to get a better light here. It's got some corrosion. Let's see, can we get this off of here and really just make a mess. brushes. Yeah, I can smell it. I think what happened is it was locking up because there's some rust on these magnets in there, and it wasn't allowing it to turn. So actually the brushes look pretty decent. Let's look at the turn smooth. So I'm wondering, it should come up out of there. Oh, I would have to pull the solenoid out. Which looks kind of bad though. Let's turn this heater off. Yep, winter time is here. Time to pull out the heat. So the armature's got some bad spots on it, not too bad. I think what it was the magnets inside of there. It's freezing. So maybe we can take this other one apart. Maybe we can just slide this body off here and just put the whole end of this starter on this starter. So I see where it was shortening out. Yeah, it smells toast. Let me change the battery in the camera, then we'll break that down. Alright, let's take this one apart. See what we got here. Get the other socket. One thing about it, this one looks newer inside. Let's see how these brushes operate. Man, this is a new starter. These brushes are spring loaded. So we got to remember how that goes back on, because the screws somewhere up in, kind of need to mark where the screws went. Should did that at first. That way we'll know. So we know the screw goes through right up in that area. So we need to mark that. I'm just gonna mark it right here. And this one right here, you got a screw right there, and one on the other side. Once you get one lined up, the other one ought to work. Forgot to take the washers off. So this one looks clean inside. Got a lot of scars on that. So 1108. That's the date that's on the armature. So I guess what we can do is let's just swap the bodies over for giggles. So this will have to be gonna go one way really, because you gotta put that bolt back in there. Then you gotta get these spring loaded deals back. I guess I can just hold them with my fingers, and the armature should it got my shirt. Might be something slightly different. I think there's a dowel pin. I think it's something slightly different. Oh no, it ain't. There it goes. It has a dowel pin on that housing on the body here, and it's got to line up with the cone. Got one little dowel pin. So now let's see. This one had 2 washers. Should we try it with the 2 washers, the shims? Or since we're using, this one had a thick one. But this has got some kind of little spacer on it. That looks burnt up. That looks melted. So I don't know. Should we leave that on there? Or since we're using that one, let's just try it like that. I don't know. Starter catch on fire. As long as it works. I don't know what difference that'll make, but we're just gonna set it up just like the other one that we took out. Can't do nothing but work, huh? Now we gotta put that little washer It's like a brass spacer washer thing. That's a remanufactured starter too. Looks like it was remanufactured 10 of '08. Alright, so we'll get it hooked on a battery. We'll lay this to the side over here. Let me get a battery and some jumper cables. See how good it works. It works. We'll save a couple bucks. Two different starters. Oh, it's this one. Whoa! Out, but I don't know if it's these damn jumper cables. It's kicking out, but it ain't turning. I wonder if we got it too many shims on it. It's kind of stiff. It's kicking out, but it ain't turning. We might have a shim too much at the back. Possibly. Let's try that again. I'm curious. Unless the solenoid is no good, but it's, like I say, it's kicking. It just won't turn. Which is weird. It's just kicking out. It ain't turning. So evidently we got something. Something ain't right here. Could it be the solenoid? This light's steady falling. Is it shim too tight? Turned pretty easy there. Let's take out, well, if it was shim, let's put that back in there. Let's just put these in there. That's how it was in the other starter. If this don't work, I will say solenoid. Why aren't we? I act like the stud don't want to go back in there. What's up with that? Be right on it. Alright, let's try it now. Sure, this battery's got enough juice. It's like as soon as I touch the start. Oh, I believe I see what it is. I honestly think it's the solenoid that's bad, because when I touch the start, it's kicking the Bendix or whatever you call it out, but it's not turning. So I'm wondering if it's a bad solenoid. Let's just try the solenoid off the other one, because it should be turning. Maybe that's what the problem was, the solenoid. But it had some gunk in there. Have to get an extension. Like I say, it's kicking it out, but it's not turning. Those usually just slide right off of there. Oh, you gotta turn it. That slides pretty easy. So I'm gonna take this one off of this one. Maybe we gotta have the solenoid that goes with it. Like that's gonna come apart. But she's like, you destroyed a good starter. Oh, well, we can put it back together. As of right now, I don't have any Chevrolets. I got just Pontiacs and Fords, so I'm not using it anyway. Alright. Same thing, springs a little different. Guess that shouldn't be a problem. And that won't fit. That one's smaller. Yep. That part is smaller. Yep, that won't work. It will not work. So that one's got to stay on there. The only way we can change that, we have to take the whole assembly apart. I'm starting to think it's not worth that. I just don't believe this. This is bad. I tell you what, I'm gonna try put some more juice to it. If that don't work, then I'm just gonna get a new starter. I ain't gonna even keep fooling with it. I'll just get a new starter. Not even gonna be worth the time. Alright, I'm gonna go get the boost pack. Alright, I got the boost pack. I guess it ain't good at being on this metal table, huh? I ain't got nothing. What did I do? I ain't doing nothing. Something's definitely wrong with this solenoid. Definitely wrong. Yeah, something's up with this solenoid. It's not it's not letting that starter do what it's supposed to do. There we go. That's the kick out. So when you hook here, it's supposed to turn. See, I can tap on it and it'll work. Then it'll stop. See, now I ain't got nothing. Something's definitely wrong. Got a good ground. There's definitely something wrong with that solenoid. Something's jacked up in there. It's either the solenoid or something inside of it is sticking. So now I ain't got jack. Yeah, there was these cheap old jumper cables. See, I ain't got nothing. 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 I'm just gonna get a new starter. I'm tired of fooling around with this old used reman starter. Because we got connection down here. Matter of fact, we can do the old cable test. Yep. So it's definitely the starter. I'm just going to get a new starter. I'll put the 350 starter back together. Might could use it for something. I'll just go down and buy a new reman starter or a new one, and then we'll go from there. So just wasting time. Alright, so I finally got the new starter installed, and let's do a compression test. Good thing about it, don't have a carburetor on it, so I don't have to worry about holding the throttle open. So let's see exactly what the compression is. I had this light here, it's kind of dark. Let's just see what we got per cylinder. Got 150 on that one, so that's good. Let's go to the next one. That is real good. This engine's been sitting for a while, so probably get even better once it runs. About 150 there. So good on that one. Now they told me this engine ran. He didn't tell me how good it ran, but he did say it ran. It It was in a 72 Firebird. Of course, you probably heard the story millions of times. And they were doing an LS swap. So, uh-oh, we got 90 there. That's not good. Seems like the battery is getting kind of weak. So here we got a valve that's not seating, or got 90 psi on that one. Let's see if is that valve moving. Might be a collapsed lifter. No, that ain't the case. So let's go to this other one here. So we know we got 90 on that one. Could be ring stuck, valve not seating. Might have to put the charger on it. Whoa, that one got like 180. Wow. We're getting oil pressure now. So it could be that the oil's not pumped up there to operate the lifters all the way, because that one I'm starting to get a little oil coming down the rocker. I put some oil in it, so we ought to start seeing oil pressure build up. Let's do that again. That one got like 180. Sounds like the tone of the engine has changed too. So we know this one's got 90. Let's go back to it again right quick. Nope, still got 90. So let's go to the other side, see what they looking like. We'll come back to that side. Might be, like I said, a ring stuck, or we had to put a little. I did put some oil in it. Maybe I had to put some more in it. I forgot I left a plug in it. Or the lifters are just not primed up yet. Get the hose in there. That's why I wanted to kind of check this engine out before I put it in. That one's got way past 180. That's like 185. I don't know what the oil pressure is. I could put an oil pressure gauge on it. Let's see. About 180. That's some high compression, ain't it? All but that one for now. $180. So we got about 150, 150, 90, and 180 on that other side. And this side, $180. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna squirt some oil in that cylinder over there. see if we can get it to come up. This engine's been sitting, I know I've had it for about a year. Not quite got any oil. Got a little bit squirting out. So I got some PB Blaster. Maybe we can squirt that in there. And maybe that will fill that cylinder up. If there's anything stuck. Let's see what that does. Hopefully that. Whoa! It went way up there then. Whoa! It even sprayed out of the compression tester. I think we just need to let that soak. Well, we know the rings are doing something. Whoa! I want the PB Blaster. Pistons up at the top. So what I'll do, I'll just let that cylinder soak a bit. And hate to get PB Blaster everywhere. We'll let that cylinder soak. Maybe it's got some stuck rings. I didn't know I put that much in there. That stuff sprayed everywhere. Well, yeah, we'll let it soak, and then we could do a compression test on our 326 engine while that's soaking and see what it looks like. Even though it was running, I'm curious to see if the compression is going to be good on it. So you LS guys, y'all really giving up on these older engines and just giving them away. But this is a 67 326 Pontiac. I believe it's a, what did he have? He had a GTO. Actually, it was a Tempest clone into a GTO. But this engine, good running engine, it's been built. Looks good in there, nice and clean. It's got the MSD distributor. I mean, he basically gave me everything. Got the wires, we got the mini torque starter, chrome power steering pump, chrome alternator, chrome alternator bracket. We got the gauges. And I believe this is a 350 transmission that came out of the car. He's, like I say, he's doing an LS3 swap. So he's just getting rid of everything. He had a short video of the engine running before he pulled it, which I might post it on there. And or on here with this video. But it's basically everything. It's got the fuel pump on it, water pump. It's just, he lifted it right out of the car, set it on the engine stand. So, will this be going in the Trans Am instead of the 400? I don't know. Like I said, I still got the other Trans Am, but for what I paid for all this bundle here, I couldn't pass it up. And like I said, these old motors, they're getting hard to find, especially the Pontiacs. But here it is, 67 326. It don't have, I can't see the manifolds. I think it's supposed to have some 4X heads. I think They said that'll be the high performance HO heads. I don't think this one does. When I get it off of here, I'll look it over, or we'll look it over. It's even got a chrome valley pan. I think this is a 1406, so that's probably a 600 Edelbrock carburetor. Looks new. And also I got the breather to match the Edelbrock valve covers. I got the torque converter, got the flex plate. So let me get this thing off and we'll get a better look at it. Alright, so this is the 326 engine that I picked up, and I'm going to go ahead and do a compression test on it. Since I got to tear down the 400 motor, I at least want to see what this engine is looking like as far as compression. It was a running engine. I heard a video of it running. He said it ran real good, but he said it didn't perform like a 326 would. Number one, he was in a Pontiac Tempest, which is a big heavy convertible. Number two, the fuel filter had some bad gas and it looks kind of brownish. So he said the car had been sitting up for a long time, so he's probably been running bad gas through this engine the whole time, and that would make it not perform like it's supposed to. But we're gonna run a compression test just to see what we're looking like. So I got oil in it. Let's just see, make sure this engine holder's not rubbing that distributor. Got the throttle locked open. Alright, here we go. Whoa! Blew the hose off. It's got compression. I didn't have the hose all the way on there. Alright, let's try this again. Man. So there we got, wow, we got almost 185. That is a lot of compression. Make sure that throttle is open, which it is. I got it wide open. Sure. So I believe this engine's actually been built inside the valve train area. It's real clean. He said he wasn't for sure. He bought the car from an elderly lady whose husband died, and she didn't know whether the engine's been built, but I honestly think it has. So this cylinder here, this is cylinder number, I think 3, I don't know, but we on this side, so here we go. Got about 180, about 182, I believe, 183. So that's pretty dang good on that one. All right, let's go to this next one. Like I say, it's got an MSD ignition on it, well, the distributor. That might not be timed right, but I believe by looking at the fuel filter, he was probably running some bad gas through that carburetor, and that might have robbed some horsepower, or it could be timing. All right, here we go. Yeah, we way on up there. That one looks good. I just want to check it before I stick it in, just like the 400 engine. All right, here we go. My starter wire is touching. I want to keep going. But you can see what the compression is. I gotta fix my starter wire over here because on this mini starter, the terminal is real close to the main battery terminal, and it started rubbing. Let's just see. All right. So I'm gonna move along to the other side, and we'll see what that side looks like. I believe this engine is a good, strong engine. Like I said, I just think it just wasn't set up right. Maybe timing or fuel. We'll take a look at the plugs I pulled out. So let's start here. Make sure that's tight this time. That one's about 180. I think the battery's starting to get low. Let's try this one. Uh-oh. We got nothing. Houston, we might have a problem. Oh no. Let's make sure this is connected good. I got nothing on that cylinder. That's a bad sign. Could be push rod or lifter. Hopefully it's nothing major. Oh man. Don't do this to me. Got nothing on that one. Sounds like it's blowing it down through the oil pan. Got 150 there. So these two cylinders here are not hitting. Let's see what we got up under here. It could be valves not adjusted right. We can bump it over with. So we're looking at these here. Let's just bump it over. Man, that sucks. Maybe that's why I didn't have any power. It could be valves not adjusted. I'm moving. Sounds like it's blowing it back through the intake. Maybe blow head gasket. I believe it's got a blow head gasket, because when I put my finger here, it's blowing it back into the you can hear it like it's the air is pushing back through the intake. Let's put a little oil down in there and see what happens. Oh man, I wasn't expecting that. Maybe that's why I didn't have any power. It's probably got a blow head gasket on these two cylinders. So that'd be engine number 2 I got to take apart. Good thing I checked it before I put it in. Oh, I forgot to put the oil in. I'm just going to spray a little PB blaster in there. Dang it. It's got to be below head gasket. Let's see. Nothing. It's almost like, put a little bit more in there. It's almost like the head gasket. The valves are moving. It's only running on what? 6 cylinders? Oh man. This is not good, folks. I might have to get a inspection cam and go down through there. Dude, stuff all on the camera. Oops. Let me put a spark plug. Well, let me move the camera back some. Get PV blaster everywhere. It's still not building compression anyway. Wait a minute. That is not good. And I think those are the cylinders that the plugs look kind of wet, like they wasn't firing. Nothing. So definitely we have a problem. And I'm leaning towards blow head gasket because I can hear the air pushing back through the motor. So let's take a look at these plugs. Got TV blaster everywhere. So looking at the plugs, that's the plug there. These two plugs here, so gotta be the one at the front. That's the one that's fouled out. It's kind of brownish. And this was the last one. But that ain't the one with the problem. This is the one with the problem. Unless I accidentally mixed them up. But on this side you can see 2 of these are wet and fouled. So I believe it's got a blow head gasket. I honestly believe that. So I guess I'll be pulling this head off of this engine, checking it out. And I'll be pulling this head off of this engine to check it out. So we got 2 Pontiac motors with the same problem. This one, no compression or low compression on that cylinder. And that cylinder, I think that's 6. And over here we got low compression on these 2 right here. So I'm going to have to make a decision on go ahead and I think I'm going to start with this engine first. I'm going to go ahead and tear it down, and because I believe it's going to just be a head gasket. I believe with this engine over here, we're either going to have a hurt cylinder or we're going to have some bad piston rings. So that's going to be it on this video for right now. Basically, we got Thanksgiving coming up. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. So I'm going to be probably feeding my face with turkey and dressing and everything else. So what I'll do is, if I get some time, I'll do another video on tearing the engine down and inspecting it and seeing what's wrong with it. We'll also probably do, if I have time, we'll do both engines, tap both of them down and see what both of them, what problems they got. So, all right, well, y'all have a good Thanksgiving, and I guess we'll deal with this later. So I decided to go ahead and just pull the head off. I wouldn't be able to sleep if I didn't. So I got the exhaust manifold off. I got the valley pan off. You can see this engine is really clean inside. So this engine's definitely been built. Someone's been in it. You can see the silicone, and there's no sludge. So all I gotta do now is take out all the push rods and undo the head bolts. And we're ready to pull that head off there and see exactly where that gasket's blowed. I believe it's going to be blowed right between the two valve ports, your intake and exhaust. So it's probably going to be blowed right up in here. Really actually blow between the cylinders. Because you got your cylinder here and your cylinder here. And this has got twin exhaust portage here. So it's going to be blowed right up in this area. And the compression is just blowing right by. So I'm going to go ahead, snatch the head off, and see what's up. Alright, so I got all the head bolts loose. Let me see, can I get this thing lifted up so we can see what the issue is. I think this is a lifting tab right here. Is it not? She's on there pretty stiff there. Maybe I can use this little mallet. Might work. Doubt it though. No sir. Give it some love taps. I hear it. I think she's loose. Get something to pry on that corner. There she goes. Come on off there. Come on off. Oh yeah. Blow right between the cylinders, just like I thought. Oh, this head is heavy. Ooh. Ooh. Oh yeah. Gasket's definitely blown. I'll show you guys. Just like I thought. Right between the cylinders. Head gasket's blowed. That was causing compression to seat by both cylinders. Pistons look good. So evidently either ran it hot or they didn't torque it down good enough, and it blew the head gasket. Hopefully the head's not warped. You can see the gasket there, just disintegrated. It's gone. There's nothing there. There's no gasket at all. So that's what the problem is. It's got a blow head gasket. So I might clean this head up. Now I have seen people do it, and I've done it in the past. Just take a straight ruler. You can set it on the head, and you can see is there any unlevel spots. Or I might just send it to the head shop, but I don't know yet. But I do know it's blowed. And it's only on this side. So that cylinder looks good. That cylinder looks good. I don't see any scarring. Let's get a light. That looks real good. I have to run it down for this cylinder here, but the way the rest of the cylinders look, I pretty much think we're good. I got the battery unhooked, so I can't bump it around. But yeah, you can definitely see blow head gasket. Yes! Had me worried for a minute. So I'll get a head gasket ordered. That's why this engine was not running at its correct power, because it had a blow head gasket. I can't tell if it don't look like it's any milky stuff in there. The dipstick was low, so it probably was smoking too. It probably was passing oil across those two cylinders. Probably was burning oil. That's why those two plugs were wet with oil fouled, because those were the two cylinders that were blowing compression across in oil. So good. So I'll get a head gasket. We'll get this engine back together, get it all cleaned up, painted up, and we'll get ready and soon get her put in here. Now the 400 I was going to put in here, I got to tear it down also. That'll be another video. Tear it down and see what's up with it. I kind of like the 326. I know you guys will be like, oh no, put the 400 in there. The Pontiac Trans AM that year came with the 400, blah, 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 blah. But as clean as this engine looks and it's been rebuilt, I would rather have a rebuilt engine that I know about than have an engine that might fail. This one here seems to be all bone stock. I don't think it's been touched, and I don't know the condition of that cylinder until I get it tore down, but that's going to be another day. So let's just call it. So I stuck it out, toughened up, went ahead and tear it down, and we see what's wrong with it. So alright, holler at y'all later. Don't forget to subscribe, like button, share. Be safe. Alright, so I got the block all cleaned off. We got the new head gaskets in. It's really the whole head gasket set. So I checked the block for warpness just to be on the safe side. And it's kind of hard for me to hold the camera. But everything is looking pretty smooth. There's no big time gaps or anything. It's kind of hard to do with the camera, but this is how you can really check. Take your straight edge and put it on the block. Just kind of go down it. Look for like a teeter totter, any kind of movement side to side. You can take your light and shine up under it like a shop light, and just kind of go down it. Look for lights coming through between the block and your straight edge. And also I did the head the same way, so it's kind of hard to see it, but kind of checked it. Looks pretty smooth to me. So I'm thinking that they just had a cheap set of head gaskets on this thing. The name of the head gasket is DG I tried to look it up. I couldn't find anything on it. Threw it in the trash. Sorry. DG is what it says. It's kind of hard to see it there. But I'm thinking it's just a cheap head gasket. Maybe it just let go. So I got the Felpro kind. Got the whole kit. Goes from a variety of motors. GM, really Pontiac. This is the, I think they call it a LMS gasket. So it's supposed to be thicker than that one. When I kind of put my micrometer on it, it's a little thicker. So anyway, I gotta turn the engine back flat. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and just pop off both heads. We're gonna replace both gaskets instead of just doing just that one, because if that is a cheap head gasket, it's probably gonna eventually blow on the other side. And while I got the engine out, it would make sense just to do both sides and get it over with. Because I don't know. I'll keep doing some research on that gasket, see if I can find who makes it. DG. It's got like a little checkered flag on there beside the GG, so it might be some kind of performance gasket, I don't know. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get this head on first, get it all buttoned up, then I'm gonna clean the valley part off where that old gasket is, and then I'm gonna go ahead and snatch the other head off and get the new head gasket on that side. And we might find that the other head gasket is about to blow once we get that head off. If it is, it's a good thing that we went ahead and changed it also, just to save from having to go through that in the car. It's easier just to do it right here on the engine stand, and it'll be ready to go then. So I'm gonna go ahead and button this side up, and then we'll take that side off and see what that gasket looks like. Now, putting head gaskets on, I always like to use some copper coat. I usually use the kind that's in the little can, but I let it sit up so long that it dried out, and it's like super hard. But this is the K&W copper coat for gaskets. It works good on head gaskets. Just give it that extra seal. I know a lot of people just put them on dry, but I always use some copper coat. So I got it in the spray can. This was made by Permatex. This is all they had at O'Reilly's. So I'm gonna spray some on it. I've never used the spray kind before. Hope it don't get everywhere. The best to spray the gasket or spray the surface. Try not and get it in the cylinders. I think it'd be best just to spray the gasket, because that'll keep it from getting in the cylinders, all on the cylinder walls. So I'm just gonna spray the gasket down on both sides. Shake it till it gets gold or copper. I think it's best to spray the gasket. Usually if you're using that kind in the can with the little brush, you can brush it on the block, but this is all they had. I went to two stores tonight, and just got to work with what we got. never used the Permatex kind before, so no, it'll be gold now. Let's get a good coat on there. Getting that stuff everywhere. I could just spray the head, but then I get it all on the valves. It's almost like spraying gold spray paint. You want to get a good coat on there. Alright. Then just take it and put it on the block. Then we get the head. Put the head on there. These cast iron heads are heavy. Man. I don't know if it's just Pontiac in general or what. These suckers weigh a ton. Oh gosh, they're so heavy. Just bear with me. Coming. Oh man, there's really nowhere you can grab hold to them. Oh man, these things are heavy. Oh, I grab onto them by the rockers. Woo! Those are heavy. Just imagine doing this in the car, using your back. I mean, you have to have somebody to pass them to you, because those cast iron heads right there. Just think how heavy that Tempest was. It's a big convertible car. Then you got this heavy engine. Man. So anyway, I'm gonna get the bolts, put them in there, and torque this head on down, and then move along to the other side, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Copper coat, gasket, and head. So I got the head bolts torqued. I did notice something when I was looking up the torque specs. I went on a Pontiac page called Runs Pontiac page. He said to tighten the bolts, put some grease on the head of the bolt. He said to tighten them to 95 foot-pounds. First you start in 25 foot-pounds increments. Of course you lube the bolts. And then he said this, at the bottom the note said tighten. Sorry if you can't see that, I'm trying to read it. It says tighten the center bolts, which is the center head bolts, at 100 foot-pounds, and then tighten the remaining bolts in spiral fashion. So by saying that, tighten the middle bolts at 100 foot-pounds. Maybe that's why that gasket blew out. Whoever did the heads on it, they didn't torque those center bolts down tight enough, and it blew the head gasket. So that was the only thing I can find that he said to tighten those two bolts, the center bolts, which is 1 and 2. Do the remaining bolts, I'm thinking at 95. But you probably can go a little bit tighter, but I just did those 25 foot-pounds first, and then went around and then I did it to 95, except those two middle ones. Of course, you can find the bolting sequence. You can just basically Google that, tell you right where the bolt's at. And then it said also on his page, it said after torquing all bolts, let's see that, it said after torquing all of the bolts, let stand for 20-30 minutes. Gasket will set in at this time, which will require a retorque. So you let it sit for about 20-30 minutes, and I guess you just go back around and bump it at 95 again just to make sure they're tight. So being that the 326, I guess this is a high compression engine, which I read, those head bolts, it's got to be tight. They got to be torqued down just right or it'll blow the head gasket. So I'm believing that's what it was. 1 and 2, they didn't torque them down good enough, and it blew the head gasket. That's the only thing I can think of, other than the head gasket just being cheap, not a good brand. But anyway, I'm gonna let that sit. I'm gonna start taking the other side down. Then I come back and retorque that, and we should be good to go. We'll get the other head off. So I got this head off, and the gasket was on there pretty good and wasn't blowed, but we're still gonna change it anyway. Those gaskets are really stuck on that head there, and it takes forever to get that off, that gasket material. But I think it'd be best just to go ahead and put the new head gasket on, take these off, and it takes a lot of scrubbing to get that off. So this one was pretty stuck on there. Plus it's stuck on the block too. So got my work cut out to get all that off. So I get all that cleaned up, get the head cleaned up, and get the new gasket, get it torqued, and then we will try the compression test again, and we will see what our readings is now. Well, I thought I had the sound on the camera. Actually, I didn't. But what I was saying was you don't want to press down hard if you're using a grinder with a wire wheel. Like I was showing this here. It's just a kind of a twisted wire wheel. And if you use that on a block or a set of heads, just lightly let it do its job. Don't grind into it, because you can really mess up the metal. You might can shave down into the metal, and it can be, I don't know if it'll be like uneven in certain spots, and you don't want to let it slip off into your cylinders either. I tried not to go off in there, and I got these pistons up, but that gasket stuff was really baked on there, I've never seen a gasket get stuck to a block like that, and I tried scraping it using a wire brush, razor blade. So I had to get out the big grinder, but it's really smooth. Now I'm gonna take some brake cleaner, spray out these piston holes real good. Just don't want to leave that in there. So I'm gonna have to turn. I hate turning these. I had a motor one time flip over, and I thought I was gonna twist my arms off trying to hold it. Yeah. I want to get it on the side. Heater off. Got gas leaking out of the fuel filter. I don't want that heater to kick on, start a fire. Got oil coming out of the hose. I just need it over just a little bit to spray that out. I guess it's oil down in the, those are the oil returns? No, that's down in the bolt hose. Guess that's where oil got in there. When they put the bolts in it, I guess. It's supposed to put a little oil on those bolts. I still got to clean the rest of this gasket off. I started scraping it, but it's not too bad. But get a paper towel. Wipe these cylinder hose out. Make sure we get all the and now I got to do the head. It's basically the same way. It's got all that gasket material baked on it. That must have been a real cheap gasket, because I've never seen one stick like that before. Make sure that's cleaned out real good. Don't want any gasket material or wire brush strands and none of that sitting on top of the piston. I think I can take the drill with the wire wheel and clean the rest of that off just lightly. There's some gasket material laying up here. I need to be fine now. So anyway, I'm gonna get the head cleaned off, basically doing the same thing, and get the gasket on there, and we'll put it back together like I said, and I think it's going to work out. So Let me give my arms a rest from holding that grinder. Get back to it. Alright, so I got both heads on. I got the rockers adjusted, best of my knowledge. This engine has some poly-lock rocker adjusters. Never heard of them. This is new to me. So I had to do some Googling and learn how to adjust them. What you do is you hold this with a wrench. You take your Allen wrench and you just want to bump that Allen nut down, just like you adjusting rockers the regular way. Make sure you got a top dead center, and you just go through each cylinder, each rocker. Just kind of feel the push rod. You'll know if it gets too tight. When you get it to where you get it, where it feels nice and snug, not too sloppy loose, you hold that, and just like I said, you just bump that Allen nut down, and then you just kind of bump the torque on there. You don't have to really torque these down. So I just went through, just kind of did that. If I'm saying this wrong, you know, correct me. Like I said, I'm new to this, but I read a lot of forums on it, and that's what they were saying to do. So, well, we got both heads on. Stayed up late getting everything cleaned. So what I'm gonna do is do a compression test just to see what we're looking like now. Actually, that was cylinder, I think that was cylinder 4 and 6. That was bad. Compression was off on. So now let's see what we got now. Let's start, I think this is 6, I believe. I believe that is 6. I forgot already. Bear with me. Yes, that is, let's see. So the engine's turned that way. That's actually 4. So you got 4 towards the front, and then you got 6. So 4 and 6 was our trouble cylinders. I hadn't put the intake on yet. You don't really need it on. Do a compression test, because when you block the carburetor wide open, you're letting air circulate. So with the intake off, it's basically doing the same thing. Let's just see here. Make sure I got this on tight. Last time it blew off. Okay, here we go. Got 150 on that one. Which the lifter's not primed all the way up, but 150 is good enough for me. Plus the engine's cold. The rings hadn't expanded because they expand with heat. But let's see. Starter wire came off. I think that's it. Got a little bit over 150, which is good. Let's go back to that other cylinder. Hopefully I got those poly locks adjusted right. I believe I do. Actually, when I took them off, the Allen wrench, the Allen screw I kind of watched it. It didn't even turn, so I kind of put them back on like they was, but I readjusted them anyway. Let's make sure this wire's tight. Got a bad connection over there. Got about 150. Let's check the other cylinders. Now, I think the other cylinders was like 180. Hopefully it didn't go down. Should be still 180, I hope. So these two got 150. Hopefully those rings didn't get hurt him running it like that with a blow head gasket. But 150 is still good, but not as high as 180. So we got 150, 150, 180, 180. Let's go to the other side, recheck. Then again, like I said, once it runs, those rings that swell up and expand out, they could be sucked in a little bit with heat because it had that blowed head gasket. Just have to see how it runs. Better than nothing. Didn't have nothing at first over there. 0. So we still got the same compression reading on these cylinders, and our 2 outside cylinders, our 4 and 6 got 150. So I'm happy with that. We'll just have to put it in and see how it runs. I believe once it runs and everything, those rings will probably swell out there. I imagine those cylinders got hot with that blow head gasket, and it kind of probably hurt the rings a little bit. We'll just have to see. What we'll do, we'll run it, and then we'll do a compression test and see what they look like after we run it. As long as we don't lose any compression, we're good. And if we gain some compression, we're really good. So I got faith in it now. It's going to run. It's got good head gaskets on it. Everything's cleaned. I'm waiting on a set of headers for it. They should be coming soon. And once the headers get here, my plan is to go ahead and put it in the car with the transmission. I was undecided what transmission I was going to use. I'm not going to use the one that came with the car because it's got the electronic lockout. So I got 2 other 350 turbos, and then I got this one here that came with the engine. The only thing about it is got this gear reductor on here for the speedometer, and I don't know if I have to change tails. Look like somebody's changed the tail section on this thing because it's not painted. So I might just run this transmission. He said it worked fine. It had a shift kit in it, so hopefully it does work good as he says. And maybe change that tail section, or I might can change that. I think on these, can't you change just the gear? Take that out and just take it out of the other transmission and pop it in. I'm not familiar. If so, we can just do that instead of pulling the housing off, and that way my speedometer cable can hook up to this tail. But I'm really thinking about running this transmission because the other transmissions I got, one of them came with the first Trans Am I bought that had the silicone 301 in it. You can go back and watch that video. I'll put a little tab up here somewhere. That car was supposed to be running, but the guy had cut the hood scoop and rainwater got down through the air filter and locked the motor up. And he had the spark plug wire silicone to the spark plugs. So that engine was locked. I didn't even feel like fooling with it, so it's gone. So I got that transmission. It's just a regular transmission. It don't have the lockout, electronic lockout, I don't think. Then I got the one that came with the Firebird that we picked up. It was just a parts car, had a transmission hanging in it. The torque converter was on the front seat. I don't know nothing about that transmission either. Got it. The guy said they took the engine out, but that was the way he got it. So I don't know if that transmission is any good. So this one here, I did see a video of the car going down the street. So I think I'm just gonna go with this one, be on the safe side. So we get the headers. I don't know how tight it'll be to put the engine in there with the headers on it. Usually you have to do them separately. We can get the engine in there. And I also had to pick up some aftermarket motor mount plates. These plates here, they bolt to the block on the early style Pontiac engines. The early motors is only got a motor mount I guess setting in one spot, which your kind of later model Pontiac motors, they had different holes where you can move the motor mount around. So you got a hole there, and there's a hole here, and then your mount here, so you can move this mount backwards and forward. But on that engine it don't. So I have to buy these plates. It's just got a nut welded to it, and what it does, goes on the block. Let's see how do I have it. Goes on the block like that. No, it goes on the block like this, just like that, and you put the motor mount on there, and that allows the motor mount to be further forward so you can drop it in like your Pontiac Trans Am 70, what, 75, 74, 75 up. You can put an older motor in one of these, 326, you know, stuff like that. You just have to run the cradle mounts off of the engine, the newer engine, and then set right in there. Whoop. So I had to get those. I ordered those from Butler Performance. I know you heard of Butler Performance. They are a Pontiac Performance vendor. They sell a lot of racing stuff for Pontiac. I know if you watch Street Outlaws, Big Chief, he runs one of their engines, and they're a very big sponsor to him. So I had to get those from there so we can put the 326 in. I'm just going to stick the 326 in here for now, and I'm going to do some investigating on the 400 motor. Like I said, it's got 90 psi on this cylinder here, which is cylinder, I think that's 5. So I'm gonna pull the head off of it soon and we'll see what's up with it. But for now, I'm gonna focus on getting this thing back together. Let's get it painted, cleaned up, painted, and good to go. So I'm gonna work along on it, get the intake back on it, get it cleaned up some, and blow some paint on it, and wait on the headers to come in, and we'll be ready to put that in, and hopefully this thing will fire up and run like it's supposed to. So y'all just keep looking out, keep watching. There'll be some more on the Trans Am coming up pretty soon.